Hello and welcome back to Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with my sonically sound mother,
Andy Reevy.
Hello, Mom.
Thank you.
This is episode 28, recorded on February 5th, 2019, and we have coming up in the transits the Chinese New Year.
Today, it's the Golden Pig.
New moon in Aquarius.
This happened yesterday. We're still in new moon energy, new pathways.
Sun sextile Jupiter.
Lucky day.
Mercury sextile Mars.
Multitask.
Mercury sextile Uranus.
Change of pace.
Mercury in Pisces.
Drifting mind.
Mars conjunct Uranus.
Roll with the punches.
Then we're going to talk about some talisman times, the ones Sandy has finished last week.
And several of those, and 2 coming up this week.
Then on the horizon, we're talking some new webinars, a talisman ceremony here in Illinois, our spring equinox workshop, our International Women's Summit invitation, as well as our Bali retreat. We'd love to have you. And then wrapping up, we have our house, where we like to talk a little bit about our personal stories. We're going to talk about the corporate gig, the Yoyo incident, and a little bit about our piggy banks. So Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
Good.
You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys.
Hello and welcome back. Happy February.
Hi. Yeah, it's like a spring day here in Chicago.
It feels
Not
like
it. Last week when we were here.
I know, it's so nice. So, of course, thank you all, everybody, for listening to our podcast. We really love you. Of course, if you want to do us a favor, 1, tell your friends.
Tag a friend. Yeah.
As well as give us a review. We love to hear your thoughts, opinions on iTunes. So if you jump over there, give us a 5-star if you're inclined.
And if you say something, we'll read it here on our podcast.
Yes, in going direct, which I am going directly to.
Right now.
Right now. So we actually, my intention is to get better at Instagram. I am learning. So we had a message from Gina earlier in January, and her message said, "Just finished today's podcast. So sorry to hear about your grandpa and dad. I had forwarded this podcast to a friend of mine who lives in Cincinnati. He's really getting into this stuff now that I've told him about it. He was clueless 2 days ago that astrology was even a thing. Anyway, he went to Elder High School and was blown away to learn that your grandpa and dad also did. Not only that, he is considering the Bali retreat as well. Just wanted to let you know that your podcasts are being heard and do have a positive impact. Thanks for sharing your story and your astrology insight."
Thank you. Awesome.
I know.
Cincinnati.
I know.
Yeah.
How crazy. What a small world.
Shout out to Elder High School.
I know. And now Elder High School is going to be like so famous. It'll be
I know.
great.
They have a pretty famous football team, or used to. Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
and
great.
that was her friend. His name's Chris, and so shout out to Chris. Thanks for listening to our podcast, and go Elder.
Go Elder and come to Bali.
So coming up, we want to talk about in the transits.
Right, big day today. It's the Chinese New Year,
right?
And so it's the Golden Pig, and this is a cycle that happens every 60 years, 60. And so this happened anyone that was born in 1959, and again born in this year, 2019. And this means that they rotate colors every 12 years, and they rotate animals every 12 years. So to get the combination is a 60-year cycle where you can get the gold and the pig.
Interesting.
Right? So it's about abundance, good fortune, wealth, prosperous life when you're born in this year. So it's it's a very exciting time, this year to be this, bringing positive energy, abundance, and fortune. Mm-hmm. So this could be financial.
Pigs are very fortunate.
Well, interesting too, because it's where the Piggy Bank whole theme came about that, there's pigs in the Asian culture, which, is for that abundance and prosperity.
And a symbol of the abundance of food, the abundance of
and money
mud.
and wealth and money. And so it's where you would, in a little slot, put your money in the piggy bank so that it would grow. And it was so funny that I have a green ceramic piggy bank
that
I
made.
That I made when I was in 8th grade. And I
even
still
used it growing up.
Well, you won some quarters at the Super Bowl the other day.
Right.
You won some squares.
Lots of quarters.
And so I added all of the quarters. You don't know this, but I added them to my piggy bank.
Oh, you're welcome. Abundance for you.
Abundance for the family. Good fortune.
Oh,
I thought
like
we would
that.
share.
Yeah,
I thought we would share.
I'm good with that.
So, if you have a piggy bank tucked away or in the basement or stuck somewhere in a closet, get it back out.
This is the piggy year.
This is the piggy bank year.
Get it.
So go and fill it up and see how high you can, so you can't fit another dime or quarter or cent in there, and then go get it counted and start all over again. And do something with that money. Is it about saving? Is it about buying something, special? So, I challenge you to get out your piggy banks. I don't care how old you are. And actually mine sits out in our sanctuary because I made it. And so that's why I keep it out there.
Yeah, beautiful.
I know.
Well, happy Chinese New Year, everybody.
But then yesterday it piggybacks. Like how I did that? Because yesterday was the new moon in Aquarius. And so I also made a talisman. It's about new pathways, new directions, new subject matter. So, we're still in this new moon energy. I mentioned it last week, but, we're still in this. We're in this, we're at about 30 hours after the new moon. So you can still set an intention right now. It still has growth, right? Yeah.
Right. And
something about doing new, different, unique.
Right. And we talked a little bit about that in our last podcast. So jump on over there if you want to learn more about that new moon in Aquarius. So next is the Sun sextile Jupiter. When is that?
This is happening on Thursday, February 7th, around 6:33 p.m. Chicago time. And this was my favorite day when I do the cosmic trends and I pick one favorite day a month. This is my favorite day for February.
Well, lucky day.
It's a lucky day. You feel positive. It's the attitude, allow success, to feel comfortable that all plans work out well. Friendships are favored here. You want to be involved with other people. You want to have camaraderie. It's bringing in a compatibility, a oneness, whether it's in your personal life of friends or intimates or family or professional, in your work environment with your coworkers.
Getting up on stage and doing a presentation
to
the boardroom.
It could be because the sun is the primary essence. It's the warmth, the light, the ego, the personality that you are here to, give. So to shine.
Don't be afraid to shine on that day.
And a sextile is 60 degrees. So it says take the opportunity, and Jupiter is the expander. It's the cosmic Santa Claus that Barbara Shermer has taught me all these years. And to bring gifts. And so it brings gifts and blessings to you that day.
So share some fun facts about yourself, or maybe a hidden talent, like my hidden talent of yo-yo skills.
Oh, that's a funny story. We might have to put that into our house.
We'll talk about that later.
Right. But that same day, just an hour later, we have the transiting Mercury. Mercury is our communication. It's our mental agility. Is in a sextile, take the opportunity to Mars. Mars is our action. It's our physical movement. It's what spurs us on. And so this is high energy. I call this multitask. So if Mercury is the thought, the thinking, the ideas, it's our high mental energy. So opinions are energized, our thoughts are energized, our ideas, so our subjects, our thoughts. It's kind of quick uptake. That you have the understanding to push forward on some things. I'm going to be making a talisman for this about having debate-like conversations. Where you're not, that Mars says you're not being forceful, but you're being a little bit direct.
Right. And that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's just,
it's a great thing for some people.
Have a worthwhile conversation that has directive information, that something that you believe, because you're sharing your thought, your opinion, your conversation. You're also listening, folks, right? It's also one of the key words of Mercury.
That's a little bit of that needed multitasking. So not all outward communication, but also receptivity.
Mm-hmm. So that you understand, that you're collecting in the information properly by listening and not, over talking or overthinking what the other one's saying. But it's just being a little bit more Mars-ish, a little bit more assertive in the things that you need to say. So we'll hold for that.
I like
talisman.
that one. I like that one. I think that would be very beneficial for a lot of people. You don't always have to be so, beating around the bush. You can just say exactly the way you feel. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't. You're not at fault.
No, and it's actually accepted easier, right? It's like heard, like I got it. It's very clear and concise, and you can, share more of your thoughts quicker. So you're getting, like, that's why I called it multitasking. It's like you can get a lot of things going on that day because your mind is full of energy, energetic happening. So, this is a really favorable day. And again, it's the same day. That's Thursday, the 7th, which these two aspects are going on within an hour of each other in the evening. So, of course, it was going to be my favorite day.
Oh, happy day. Yes. And so Mercury sextile Uranus.
This happens on Saturday, the 9th, in the afternoon at 4:53 p.m. Change of pace. So the Mercury we just finished talking about, right? Mental agility, the data that we collect, the information that we sponge into our Rolodex, is sextile, 60 degrees, take the initiative of Uranus. So it's about electric energy, change of pace, mental stimulation. Like how can you get more information in different subjects, make new discoveries. Ask questions. You mentioned just a second ago, I'm like, did you read my notes?
I didn't.
Get some information by asking questions. So being in conversation in your circle that you would not normally, ask an interesting question or a personal question, go ahead and, do the shock and awe. Uranus is a planet of awakening, right? The rebel. So it has that theme of what?
And some esoteric conversations.
Right? Like what? Did you seriously
exciting.
just ask me that question out of the blue spontaneously? Like I wasn't expecting that question. And the questionnaire says, well, what is your thought about that? Can you answer that question?
Well, that's a really interesting transit that's going to be happening for your plans for this weekend.
Well, interesting because did you see that? Can you read this?
No,
note?
I can't. What's going on?
Really? You can't?
No, I can't.
So as I said, to plan excitement for Saturday evening or even Saturday, remember these come in, it can come in a day or two before, as it's applying. And then the actual hit is when I give you, these are the data hits points, and then it starts to separate, but it's still in play. And so, like by getting more information from your circle, and I wrote here, try new solutions to any ongoing problems. This is a really nice time to kind of come and think out of the box, to come up with solutions.
Next to the turnip. It's next to the turnip.
But I wrote down here because we're having a birthday party for my mom. And nobody knows this yet. We're going to be playing the newlywed game. And so I've designed this game that we're playing. So it's interesting. So we're going to be having, there's a lot of couples, you included. We've got, engaged couple,
A married couple.
some older married couples like my two brothers and their wives will be playing. They just don't know it yet. So it's not necessarily we're matching up, the ones that have been married for late 20 something years, or the ones that aren't even married yet or have just, started dating. But we're going to be throwing these questions out to them and seeing how they answer, just to see who's more in tune, the 50 to 60-year-olds or the 30-year-olds.
Yeah, and I think you should also
interesting.
Yeah, you have to also ask some questions in there. Well, we'll talk later. We'll talk later in our house about that.
Okay. Sunday,
right,
the 10th. Mm-hmm. This is when we have the same Mercury is moving into Pisces. Now, Mercury currently is in the sign of Aquarius. And so,
which is my natal composition.
You just had a Mercury return. Mm-hmm. And, Mercury does return back to its own placement in the chart about every 9 months. And so you just had that. You get this kind of like new information. You get to kind of open up some of the
cobwebs.
Yeah, let's get rid of those. And you kind of get to go at a new thought level, right? I mean, every time that happens, you don't really stay in the same ballpark. Like you move up every,
and I think
because you're maturing too,
right? And I think for me, it's really been a time to be very specific and intentional with what my thought processes are.
Well, because your Mercury also in Aquarius is in the 10th house. So it's about career for you. Mm-hmm. It's about your reputation. So for you to be thinking out of the box, you to be being
next to the turnip, but
next to the turnip. Well, that's probably why you're coming up with
I'm trying to make this a thing. Would you help me?
Next to the turnip, yes. Which is why you can make some crazies up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then, so Mercury in Pisces.
So Mercury in Pisces, yeah. So on the 10th at 4:51 a.m., we get the drifting mind. So maybe this is that Sunday morning, it's fine. It will be happening while you're sleeping, that maybe you end up, sleeping in. Because Mercury, who likes to be precise and accurate and organized and, critical thinking and data collecting and, be correct. Going into Pisces is water, right? It's the mutable water. And it just kind of goes, Mercury gets kind of muddy.
Well, haven't you ever tried telling someone a secret message underneath, the pool water where you're like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, when you're trying to say something.
Right.
Yeah.
But all bubbles come up.
And it's, there's a unclarity here. So that messages become unclear. They can be confusing. I do want to talk about it going into retrograde, so I'm going to give you some, kind of early information. But it's a foggy time. Although it's a phenomenal imaginative time. It's good for writing. It's good for writing stories, fantasy. It's good for writing music or playing music or singing music. Mm-hmm. It's actually, you're right. I have my natal Mercury is in Pisces.
Right.
So when I was learning astrology, I really, really, really thought, learning the definition of a Mercury retrograde, one would have a Mercury retrograde in their natal chart. I'm like, yeah, I've got that. I've got to have that. And when I really kind of delved in and had my astrologer teach me, I have Mercury in Pisces. So it seems to work that my thoughts are, like I'm a daydreamer. I remember my parents would go to the school and they'd say, 2 things I need to tell you about your daughter, Sandy. She's boy crazy. And I had nothing to do with my Mercury. Although maybe it did. Maybe it had that I was into that romance and that peaceful place. But they said that she's a daydreamer. We can't get her to focus. She's not concentrating. She's drifting. She's always looking outside the windows. And so from early on, I can even go back into that primary years to say, I was a daydreamer. However, that is developed into a creative imagination.
Right. I think you're one of the most creative people I know.
Really?
Yes.
Thanks. But it's using that Mercury, that the communicator, to vision, right? But yeah, it's not in its happy sign. It's actually in its detriment and fall. So I want to talk a little bit about, Mercury is not retrograde now. However, it does go retrograde March 5th through March 28th. It's the 3-week. It's the first retrograde.
Dum, dum, dum.
First Mercury retrograde of the year. We'll get 2 other ones. But it will stay in the sign of Pisces for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's long.
Good luck, everybody. I have to deal with this Mercury in Pisces, which is funny sometimes, because sometimes you can't figure out the word that you're trying to pick. So you either do, Pictionary or you've got to do charades or, whatever other means you can, except for, your verbal skills. You're just trying to get it out.
I can't.
So
I can't.
Maybe get some of those games going.
Well, and we do understand our,
little sign language.
Our sign language, but it really is more about this retrograde period where normally Mercury would stay in a sign for, 3-ish weeks. It stays there for 2 months. That's quite a bit of, longer time. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about the shadow period. So from February 19th, when Mercury gets to 16 degrees of Pisces, it starts the shadow period. And I'll explain this in a minute. And then it stays in shadow period from February 19th at 16 degrees Pisces all the way till April 16th at 29 Pisces. So that means that in this retrograde cycle, that as Mercury crosses, before it goes retrograde, crosses that 16 Pisces, and then, passes it, goes all the way up to 29 degrees Pisces, stations to retrograde and starts moving backwards. And comes back to that 16 degree mark. So that, and then stations direct on March 28th, and then starts moving its forward march again, and then moves out of that 29 Pisces on April 16th. So, I liken this to, and I heard this from, it was a great story, and I like to have those visions. And so I was describing it to someone today on a reading. And as soon as I said this, they're like, I get that. And so a shadow period is not actually the retrograde period. It's part of the retrograde period where, you want to make sure you're not like signing important contracts. You're not making, permanent agreements. Try not to purchase anything that has, technical, electrical, appliances or computers or phones or anything, any communication device.
Okay.
Watch your travel, right? Making sure all your travel is pertinent. You've given it enough time because there might need to be adjustments and, longer delays during this time of March 5th through the 28th. But start watching by February 19th all the way through April 16th, the shadow period. And you want me to describe what the shadow period is?
Of course I do. Piqued my interest.
So it's as if you were moving things to the car, okay? So you've got all your packages at the front door, and you take the first group of packages and you walk it down the walk and put it in the car. And then you deliver that to the car, come back, pick up the next ones. Take the last pieces of the packages to the car, load the car, and then drive away. So this whole shadow period from the front of the doorway to the car is the shadow period.
But maybe on the second path, are you now discovering that you dropped some of those packages?
You could have. Because you're doing the retrograde. Oh, what did I forget? What am I confused about? I need to go backwards and figure something out. So the retrograde is all the RE words, right? review, redo, relax, rest, retreat. We'll piggyback. We'll piggyback on that again. But, really to watch that any, if you need to make any major purchases or contracts that are incredibly important, go ahead and sign that now up until February 19th, because that's when we get into the shadow period. Makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
For you guys that are thinking about going to Bali, try and get your flight arrangements and all figured
buy some
out.
Insurance, just in case you totally got the dates wrong. I have done that before. So then finally we're wrapping up in the transits with Mars conjunct Uranus.
Well, this is something that's not happening till next week, next Wednesday, the 13th, and we'll be on air, the 12th, the day before. But this is a big deal that I'm going to alert for, watching in advance. So I call this rolling with the punches. Mars, right? Mars is a malefic. It's
the aggressor.
The aggressor. And it's combining with Uranus in the very last degrees of Aries, where Mars rules. And so this happens every 2 years, although not here in this last degree, but this happens at 12:19 a.m. So really Wednesday morning, Tuesday evening. So this podcast may not even make it out before this actual energy is here, but it's asking you to break from limitations. It's a sudden upset. It will either help you or hinder your action. So to have a mindset that is, focused and non-changeable, that is kind of grounded, will have issues during this time, because Mars Uranus says quick action, right? Action that can be aggressive. So you're going to, watch volatile forces, watch your anger, watch other people's anger. Seriously, don't sweat the small stuff here, because this could bring up an incredible frustration, anger, pissiness, out of the blue, So I wanted to mention that prior to next week, but this happens on Wednesday, the 13th.
So a good time to dodge some things,
right?
We don't normally say just dodge it, but if you feel like that, aggression or that anger is coming up, give yourself a little distraction there and start rolling with those right. changes and those annoying things.
Well, watch road rage here. Because if your Mars is saying go fast, Uranus is saying, take a shortcut right up here, take a right. And you didn't look quick enough to see that there was somebody in the right-hand lane. So just this, kind of breathing in a little bit of a, I've got this. I'm going to just be slightly patient here. I'm going to count to 3, 1, 2, 3. And then make my move and then make my decision. Because this is kind of like when you say dodging, it's kind of like moving this way and that way and this way. So, because it's, it can be spontaneous action. Yeah. So, and Mars comes around and hits Uranus every 2 years. So, it's not that it happens often, but often enough to be aware, need to be aware of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about the Talisman Times. I know you finished a few, and you might have added the new moon in Aquarius in there.
I did. Okay, so it starts. There's a lot here. Do you want to hear them all?
Yeah, let's briefly go through them. The finished ones.
Right, here's the finished ones. I did, and some of these I told you about on last podcast. On Tuesday at 8:21 p.m., this was January 29th, we had Mercury Cazimi Sun to be detailed, organized, and productive. Today, I put my ideas into form. I am so excited this comes so quickly.
Zing.
Got it.
Well, yeah.
Next.
It's also, zing, all of a sudden it's in your inbox and you got that message. Done.
Got it. Wednesday, the next day, January 30th at 4:58 a.m. I had to get up early for this. We had Saturn Sextile Neptune to develop the long-term plan to reach a dream. I balance my material world with my spiritual visions to create its form in real life.
Mm-hmm. Me gusta. I'm working on my Spanish.
Wednesday, the 30th, a little bit later at 8:35 a.m., we had that same configuration of Saturn sextile Neptune to vision a reality. My thoughts and ideas are so real that I can touch them. So I pull them into my life.
I like.
Grab.
And did any of those sell?
Well, not those.
Oh.
No, these are still available.
Okay. But the ones before that. Okay.
No, the ones that you're going to hear.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Slow down.
I'm
okay.
Trying to hurry up. Okay. I'm patiently waiting.
Okay. Is that a thing? Friday, February 1st. This was the Venus trine Uranus. This was at 9:28 p.m. to experiment in unique social gatherings. This is an interesting one. I divulge a long-held desire. I share with others and enjoy my request.
Say that again.
Do you really want me to?
Yes, I do.
Are you like reveling in it? To experiment in unique social gatherings. I divulge a long-held desire. I share with others and enjoy my request. That's just a random.
It's so open and so open-ended.
It is. It's so.
I mean,
like
what is it? Now I'm so curious. Like, to our listeners, like, what would be your request?
Right. It's Venus. It's about relationship. It's about all the five senses. Venus. And the trine, easy energy for, experimenting different discoveries, different things, new unique forms. So it's about asking for, maybe something that's hidden. We had the Uranus in the 8th house of hidden desires. So I use that 8th house information.
Interesting. I wonder what people would ask for. Next.
Saturday, February 2nd, 11:05 a.m., we had Venus trine Uranus. But this is a little bit different. This is to shake up a love life. I spontaneously create a buzz with my partner. My ideas are inventive and progressive. This is exciting. Mm-hmm. How about if you get both of those talismans? They would work well together, huh?
I really think so. Right. And I mean, I think that's so important just to keep that buzz going in a relationship.
Yeah, to do new things and to allow that flow of, suggestions. That it's a partnership. Mm-hmm. It's like, there's other people there. There's one, you and me.
Right. That one other person.
Sunday, February 3rd, I did this in the morning. This was the Mercury Sextile Jupiter to magnify understanding. My mind is clear and easily gathers all details into order. I get this now. This all makes total sense. So I made 2 bracelets on this time, and 1 sold already.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really awesome one. And we were even doing one of our Constellation workshops during that time, and it was all about that Mercury sextile Jupiter. We got to talk a lot about, what messages were we going to,
all the details to make the big picture.
Right.
Like the little puzzle pieces, how little do they get and how many do you have, and how big is the picture or finished product that this puzzle is.
Right. I'm noticing I have a lot of tiny, itty bitty microscopic.
So, and then I made the new moon mala yesterday for new pathways, new progressive thoughts, and new subjects.
Yeah.
And then the few that I only have 2, because we're going to be out of town. And you know what? I usually always carry my supplies and my canes and my sticks and my razor blades and my cores and all of my charting. But it's my mom's birthday and I'm not going to be making beads. I've just set
full
it in.
100% focus.
I'm going to give my mom all of my focus. Yes. But on Thursday, before I go, Thursday, February 7th, it's my favorite day that I just talked about. At 7:33 in the morning is a beautiful time to set an intention, make a talisman, draw, write, set something in motion. It's that Jupiter sextile the sun, to allow a positive attitude. All my plans work well. I see the oneness in all.
And that's perfect for, creating plans alongside of that too. Just really knowing that regardless of what changes, everything is there, and it's really your intention that you're going for. And that, especially it being such a lucky time, that Sun Jupiter, it's very jovial, very uplifted.
Optimistic.
Yeah. I like that.
And so just a little bit later at 11:16 a.m. on Thursday, February 7th, we have the Mercury Sextile Mars to engage in a worthwhile debate-like discussion. My mind is on high energy alert. My ideas and opinions are presented to others for a better understanding. That's a cool one.
I'm sure a lot of politicians would be interested in that one.
Oh my gosh, it's not for sale.
No, I mean, it's good because you're being very direct. You know what you're talking about. This is, and especially in politics, I hope that they really truly mean it. But, getting that point across and communicating in such an easy to understand yet invigorating way where you can collect some people and
right. And this Mercury is sitting in the 10th house with the sun, having that that career or reputation or public view.
recognition.
Yeah. So it would be good for anybody that needs to make a statement, a salesperson or, a politician. But anyway, that's coming up on Thursday, coming up this week. So, watch for those times and watch for those days happening in your life. Is there anything that you need to, make sure everything goes well, yet be able to stand up and believe in your thoughts, and kind of be a man or woman of your word. Mm-hmm. Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot.
Yeah.
So on the horizon, we've been doing some webinars and they've been really, really great.
We have enjoyed them. We enjoy putting them together because, two creative minds that have this ability to formulate something that we do on Zoom. And I'm really getting good on Zoom.
You are.
I'm actually.
You are.
Yeah. Thank you. All because of your teachings.
Yeah,
but we're putting another Uranus in Taurus webinar together for sometime in March. And we're just designing that now. And I'll talk more about that next week when we talk about transiting Uranus moving into Taurus. It's the big thing that all astrologers are talking about for 2019.
Right.
It's an 84-year cycle that, again, hasn't happened in 84 years and won't again for another 84. So it's a shakeup of Taurian energy, which is fixed Earth. And so there comes in some new unexpected surprises in what we consider stable Earth.
Right.
So
I think it's going to be cool.
Stay tuned for that webinar. We'll be making it. It's a talisman making webinar.
Correct.
So
you'll be able to walk away with something physical. It won't just be a webinar. We will ship you something once it's all completed.
Right. You'll set an intention. I set the intention. I think it's going to be called, can I say?
Yeah.
Engage the change. And then you'll each have your own intention that I roll in while you're on the Zoom call, one person at a time. We do a little ceremony on Zoom.
And you'll go through personal charts.
We go through personal charts. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming out any day now because this already is, I think this is it's the first week in March.
Yeah, we're about a month away.
I want to do this. It actually happens March 6th when Uranus moves into Taurus at 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So I thought about having it at 1 o'clock in the morning.
So quick question for you listeners. Would you be interested in doing a webinar at 1 a.m. Central Time, Chicago time? Please message us on Instagram or on Twitter or wherever you want to reach us. The email on our website. I'd really like to know if anyone would do a 1 a.m. webinar.
Well, we do the Constellation bracelet. And
Right.
I've called for 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and people show up. All
Right.
people
We
show
know
up.
we know they do.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if any of the listeners would be interested in doing that. I mean, it's very interesting because you're waking up at a completely different time. Your body's not necessarily on a routine. Your coffee buzz hasn't drifted off and you're like falling asleep in front of your computer. It's a very different time.
And especially when you get to finish an awareness of the energy that is present out there in the cosmic, and you're pulling it into a talisman, but then you get to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of like climbing into bed and into the warm covers goes, you know what? I just got up in the middle of the night to do something important, and now I get to go back to sleep. There's a.
Well, you do that all the time.
I do that all the time. I know. I get
You're the
up.
expert.
Yeah, I had a personal talisman the other day to do at like 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
But, my personal intention wearers, they get up too because it's when universe is blessing them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so also coming up February 16th, we are having a talisman ceremony. So this is an astrology bead making workshop where you get to come in. So if anyone's from around the Chicagoland area, this will be up on the website soon, and double check your calendars because it's really cool to be here in person, hand rolling your bead. And it's a 3-hour.
Give us a date.
February 16th.
Saturday.
Yes.
In Deerfield.
Yes. And so that will be on the website. So check that out. And then coming up March 6th, I'm pretty sure, or March.
Yep. No, it's March 6th.
March 6th, we have our.
It's a new moon also.
Right.
Yeah.
New moon in Pisces.
New moon in Pisces on March 6th, the same day that Uranus moves into Taurus. It's a big day.
So that's basically when we're kicking off our spring equinox constellation bracelet and workshop. This is what we're talking about. This spring equinox session is a little bit more docile with, transit times. We're not waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning. The earliest we're going to meet is like maybe 7 a.m. and the latest we're going to meet is maybe 8 p.m. I mean, so
I don't even think it's that late. What we're doing this time, because the minute that we start the constellation workshop, it's 12 Zoom calls and it's making 13 beads. And you, at the end of this time period, you will have a bracelet that I ship to you that I've made during all of these times, and that you set intentions.
And really the coolest part about it is being a part of all of these astrological transits that are happening, and you're there live, you're setting your intentions, you're pretty much on a direct line with universe being like, this is how I want to work this energy. And so you're doing that consistently, over a month. Sometimes we have them go over 2 months depending on the transits, but this one is a condensed one.
It's very condensed, and what's really interesting, it starts at the Mercury Retrograde and ends at the Mercury Direct.
That's beautiful.
So it's really
revisiting what we want.
It's really about how to work with the Mercury retrograde energies, because everything to do with that 3-week period of where we're getting together a lot, there's some day, 1 or 2 days, we get together twice. And you remember, it's recorded. I set your intention if you don't get the information to me in advance, but you still have a bead made that day, whether you can join or not. Sometimes someone's flying or in the air. Yeah. But it's really interesting how this worked in our schedule, and because we're going to Bali for April, that I didn't want to delay the finishing of the constellation bracelet workshop and push it into May.
No,
so we're really
I like this. I think it's going to be
the Mercury work with the Mercury retrograde. If you don't know, if you think that Mercury retrograde gets a bad rap, because it gets a bad rap, if you're following the directions of going in backwards motion, just like Mercury does, or appears to, and you're using the energy correctly, you're getting a lot from a Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's even kind of like what we saw on the way over here to the Jazz Fest studio. There was that car, who pulled into the driveway, but then was backing up, and kind of like causing a little bit of a traffic jam.
Right.
But then just turned into the driveway right next door because they just kind of, they did a little bit too quick of a turn at first. But, just backing up, being calm, even if there is some stressors, but really reevaluating, okay, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And how do I correct this? So yeah, definitely sign up for that Spring Equinox Bracelet workshop. And then
International Women's Summit.
Oh, right. We have International Women's Summit, and that's March
7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. This is the Celebrate Your Life group. This is Liz Dawn. This is amazing work. This is my favorite group of people to work with. They know how to do an event.
They really
know
do.
who to bring in, the speakers, the venue, the vendors, of which I am one of the lucky ones. But the International Women's Summit is bringing, I think 2 years ago they had this for their inaugural, and now this is their second one that they've had. It will bring in, I think they were 67 countries. And it's all about, and it's right on the weekend of the International Women's Day, where women helping women. And it's mostly women helping young girls to be women. So there's a lot of nonprofit things here. There's a lot about, aiding and supporting the growth of, female
beings.
Female beings. It's we're women. And so it's just a beautiful event, and we'll have a booth there.
Right. So excited. I nearly forgot about that because we just got that news that we were joining in on this just recently.
I asked my dad for help because they didn't have a place for us. And I was like, Dad, please, this is my favorite show. And then literally 2 days ago, yesterday.
Right.
Yesterday we got the message like, okay, Sandy, we got a spot for you.
Right.
I'm like, thanks,
we will
Janice
be there. And there's
Liz.
some really awesome speakers there. So I'm going to put that link in the description in the bio. So check that out because I'm really excited to listen to some of these speakers.
But the big announcement that we're still filling spots for is
the Bali retreat. So that's April 15th to the 26th. If you have never been to Bali, it is an incredible, enchanted place.
If it is on your experience list, which is better than saying a bucket list. If it's on your experience list, we would be a really good team to come with. Right. I mean, not that I know other teams that go to Bali personally.
We know some. Yeah.
That, the fact that this is our 4th annual retreat, we have our drivers that speak English, although they're Balinese, they invite us to their home. We get to see how the Balinese live on compounds. But we do the Bali, Turta Ampul, the purifying water ceremony, go to temple, eat good food.
All the while you're learning astrology.
Yeah. Yep.
It's incredible. We would love to have you. Anyone who is interested, you can sign up for a free reading, and you can do that by going to our website, intentionbeads.com, and you'll see a little learn more link to the Join Us in Bali. So check us out there, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the free reading option.
Please come. Please be there. Yeah, we're filling up. And they're intimate. They're small groups. We like to do the intimate one-on-ones because it's teaching. We're teaching personal.
We're teaching astrology through your personal chart. That's just kind of how we teach astrology. So yes, we would love to have you. Then let's discuss a little bit of our house. I'm kind of excited for these topics.
Well, what topic do you want to talk about first?
So
here, I'm sad. I asked that question to myself, obviously, because I'm going to answer it.
Go ahead. Yes.
So on Saturday, I'm cooking for a party that I'm going to, and I thought what I had said last week about Saturday, February 2nd, that Venus was trining Uranus. And so this would be a good time to do something unusual. I happen to be so did you, get invited to this Brazilian birthday party, right? Mm-hmm. So I offered to cook. So I'm in the kitchen cooking. And rare that I would ever answer my phone that I don't recognize the number. Especially on a Saturday morning.
Right, no.
And I'm cooking. I've got like stuff going on and my phone rings and it's this random call. And I'm like, you know what? There's something about this. I'm getting this intuition that I need to answer this right now. And so I wipe my hands off and answer it. And it's a call from someone asking us, Intention Beads.
So it's a corporate.
To do a corporate team building for their corporation.
Yeah,
for
their marketing team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in small pieces, right? So it was, literally walking away from the kitchen, going down into my sanctuary and being able to discuss exactly what I do, because all they did was Google intention and beads.
That's so crazy.
So
and she didn't even know we existed.
She didn't know what we did. And she said, tell me what you do. I've looked at your website a little bit. Do you do anything like this? I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, we do workshops. We talk about personal charting, what benefits you have, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and then make a talisman. And she's like, oh my God, this is like exactly what I wanted. I can't believe that there's somebody out there that doing this thing, because I really thought I'd be like going around looking for this and not really hitting exactly what I had visioned. So it was just kind of a good day, right? That was a good day.
Right.
That was that Uranus, Venus energy of something unusual coming in. Venus, it can be money.
Completely out of left field.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And she said, thank God you answered, because I was just going to go down to the next person on the list. So it's very exciting for us because, to get more of that, the corporate world, right? More corporate worlds are going into the spiritual. They're just nudging a little bit.
Yeah.
And especially with this Uranus
we'll
and
still
Taurus.
Maybe wear some business, attire when we're doing it. Wink,
I
wink.
Know. I might go barefoot. I'll wear my bra.
We don't want to scare him too much.
Bra.
We don't want to scare him too much.
But I'm still probably going to wear my flowy clothes.
Maybe.
But anyway.
We'll discuss dress attire.
That energy, was present that day. And sure enough, that came through for me.
Right. And so that was huge news.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be, doing this corporate team building exercise. And we'll tell you guys maybe on a future episode of just which corporation it is.
Who called?
So exciting.
Yeah.
And so what's our next plan of attack with our house?
Well, you wanted to talk about piggy banks.
I wanted to talk about piggy banks and yo-yos.
Oh, that's right. Yo-yos. That's what it was.
Right.
It sounds like a childish conversation.
I love it.
Well, you
Never
are a
grow
child.
up. Never grow up. Yeah. So we were talking about which day? Oh, the Mercury Sextile Uranus, right? Where we were talking about kind of be unique, talk some different talk, right?
Well, make new discoveries. Yeah. Ask questions, get information in your circle, solutions. Or were you talking about the Mercury Mars? It was the Mercury and Mars. You had high mental that you could push. You can push your ideas.
Maybe all of it, but the sun and Jupiter as well. Because I remember talking about that and just being like, show some talent, show some like random pieces of talent that you have, and which is funny because I just showed a random piece of talent that I had maybe a week ago, just a few days ago, and it was my yo-yo skills that I've been cultivating ever since I was a little girl. I'm with my boyfriend, and he has this like bowl of just like a catch-all, and so in there he had just a random yo-yo, and that's not normally something that I think people have just on hand or kind of like out on your kitchen counter.
Right.
So it was really surprising to me, and so I just like took it out, and I was wrapping up the string and doing all of that stuff, and so he takes it from me, and he's working with the yo-yo, like throwing it down and
walking the dog. Is he?
No.
Oh,
no, not at all.
He can't walk a dog.
No, I don't think he knew what that was. So he's just kind of like throwing
trouble.
it. Just like the before the yo-yos had the ability to kind of spin and hang down when they're still spinning, and then you just kind of like nudge them back up.
Yeah.
It was just like the kind of like the yo-yo would go down and then come back straight back up. And it was kind of like funny. I was just like, oh, wow, you're really good at that. And
he's taking a bow probably thinking,
then I was, just like kind of being pretty modest and, just saying like, well, hey, like what if I just showed you, because I started learning yo-yo when I was like pretty young. I was kind of nerdy and I had an infatuation with it probably after you took me to Cirque du Soleil, which was mind-blowing to me. And they had these Chinese yo-yos. And then, I got my first yo-yo and it was just so much fun. Anyway, so here I go. I just, I'm like, oh, you should try and walk the dog. And none of that was working for him. It was just like pretty much like flopping all the way around and spinning in the places that you don't want. And then I take the yo-yo, I put it around my finger, I throw it down. And like my first throw down, it was just like, bzzz, and just staying down there.
You're walking dogs.
So then I'm like, oh yeah, I remembered one of the other tricks. And so here I'm showing him like the walk the dog, and then the other one where you like shoot the moon. And I am so weird that I know all of these little details of what they're called
and the names or something.
No, rock the cradle.
Oh, rock the cradle.
Or the cradle. And so here I am like, spinning, and then it's like, I'm, collecting all the strings, and then I have this like kind of triangle of the strings where the yo-yo is like just rocking back and forth in between. And then I like let it drop down and it comes straight back up in my hand as if like nothing, like it never messed up. I never messed up once.
Ooh.
And it was just pretty much night and day comparatively, and probably the funniest thing that I've done in a little while, because it was just such a stupid thing to be so good at, but I was so good at it. And so from now on, he says, oh well, I'm not going to challenge you because the yo-yo incident.
Yeah,
so it's now an incident.
Yeah.
That no more challenging because of the yo-yo incident.
Because he has no idea your skill sets.
I keep it all very hidden and modest.
Yeah.
So,
well, you have Jupiter and Venus in your 12th house. So people don't even really know.
All in Aries.
Yeah. So you know how to do it. You just kind of keep it down. But once you're challenged, boom, you can put, it's just like you going to pool and saying, oh, I'll play next game. And then they'll go, yeah, I'm going to play you. And
they always want to play the girl because they think they're going to win or teach me something, which is always hysterical.
It's like, okay, I'll play you.
And for then, all you listeners who don't know, I play competitive pool here in Chicago, and I'm not gonna brag and say, oh, I'm so good, but
I'll brag for you. Last year you were top gun between male and female,
right?
Which is the number one player in Chicago.
In my division.
In your division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's a little bit about Alex Reevy. So, once she finds a direction, she perfects it. And she's got skills that she hides.
I got yo-yo skills. I got yo-yo skills. So, so anyway, that was the yo-yo incident that I just, had to bring back up because that was so funny.
He said to me later, he goes, I cringed when I saw her grab this yo-yo and act like she knew something about it when I thought I was going to take it from her and show her how the yo-yo even works.
Boom.
And he was like, I enveloped in my courage and my will and my masculinity just
I don't know if it went that far.
Oh, I was picturing it.
Okay.
But he's such a cool guy because he talks like it and he gives you the kudos because you got the yo-yo skills.
Right. And so I also wanted...
He's probably taking yo-yo lessons right now.
Probably. It'll be great. We'll be like the yo-yo couple of the world. It's great. So,
which is why you're learning your Spanish skills.
Right. I am learning my Spanish skills.
Impress him. Yeah.
So also I wanted to talk about, because we mentioned, happy Chinese New Year. It is the year of the golden pig. And so it was just so interesting to me that the Piggy Bank is pretty much brought on by this symbolic tradition, this Chinese symbolism, because pigs are known to be very, abundance, that you're very wealthy if you have the ability to have pigs.
You can have many offspring.
Right. Yes. And so, when pigs reproduce, there's many pigs that come out, and then you have, kind of even more abundance, and then those pigs and even more abundance. So that was just so interesting to me that, because has anyone ever thought of why
is it a pig?
Banks, piggy banks, and it's just so cool. And I was just kind of curious, you listeners out there, I know I have a lot of questions for you tonight, but another question would be, have you ever had a piggy bank? Have you ever broken that piggy bank? Because I know that was always a thing that you do to crack open the piggy bank.
There never used to be a little hole at the bottom with a plug that you can dump out. It was just all collected, and that you would have to crack it or keep it.
We should do that. We should do that more often.
Crack it? No, mine has a little hole in the bottom.
No, I know. Yours has the hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
So anyway, tell me what your piggy bank is like.
How old is your piggy bank?
Do you still have coins in it? And are you going to bring it out this year as a form of abundance and also saving some of that abundance for your future?
I think it's a really great gift to give someone this year for their birthday. A piggy bank.
Especially some newborns. That would be adorable.
Yeah,
a little golden piggy bank. Okay. We love it.
Okay.
So I think we're going to stop here and say that is the end of our episode. And we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. Really, truly. This is such an easy way for my mother and I to explain astrology, to share with you the updates, because sometimes we're tech not friendly. And, we love to share with you over these airwaves. So please share back with us. We'd love to hear your stories. We'd love to, possibly bring you on for a little mini reading. And that you can do if you head to our Instagram account @intention_beads. And you'll see some of our postings. They're gold and white, and they happen every time the sun makes a new transit into a sign. And that's, you tag any of your friends. As many people as you tag, you get entered in for the free reading drawing. Yay. So we would love to have you on. Tag as many friends as you'd like. Also, give us a review. Tell some of your friends about us. We'd love to give you some more astrology knowledge. Sign up for our webinars. Get a reading with Sandy. Oh, and I want to give you a special price on readings with Sandy. And this is exclusive to our podcast listeners. So if you head to our website and you go to intentionbeads.com/podcast, you're going to see a button on there that says book your reading with your podcast password. And it is a very special podcast password. Currently, it is Jazz Fuzz, JAZZFUZZ, all lowercase. And you can get on and schedule at a discounted price because it's important and very valuable information that you're getting when you have a reading with Sandy. Because you will walk away feeling like, I got this.
I actually did one today that one of our podcast listeners.
Oh, that's right.
She got it. Actually, she's with the Wonderlust group.
Oh, cool.
Which is we'll talk about that next week because we just got off the phone with corporate today.
That is true. A lot of corporate things going on. But of course, keep us in tune with what you do. Tag us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, get in touch with us via email. We'd love to hear your stories. So until next week, we bid you adieu.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Get your piggy banks out. Oink, oink.
Oink, oink.